Hi guys, and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things, including news, finance, business, entertainment, and most importantly, right now, stimulus, and we're going to keep on the stimulus train. And I found a really interesting article that talks about how the different ways are that you can possibly get some extra stimulus money that I want to go over. Basically, it's about knowing the laws and knowing the rules of how things are written when it comes to stimulus. So I want to go over all of that with you because we are all just in a severity of hurt, a world of financial hurt, and I don't think we can get enough help right now, but of course, we're not getting any. And you guys know me, I am the queen of finding loopholes and things. So I want to give you some information to arm yourselves going forward for if and when stimulus ever passes. It will. It's just going to be a matter of when and how bad things are going to get. I want you guys to be armed with how you can possibly get double stimulus. So we're going to go over that, as well as I also want to go over that some people have become eligible for stimulus that might not have before. You or somebody you know may be able to cash in on a check right now. So we are going to get into that. But before we do, guys, I want to let you know I'm giving away a $100 gift card. And it's so simple to be eligible. This is all you have to do. Like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. You're entered, you're eligible. That's all you have to do. The more videos you do this on, the more chances you have to be eligible. And I want you guys to know, and this is awesome, that I've changed the rules a bit. For the people that share the videos and comment the most, they have more chances to win. So please go in that comment section, blow it up, and you can possibly get some money. I will announce winners or a winner on Mondays. So make sure and watch all of Monday's videos front to back to see if you've won. I will announce it somewhere in there. And I'll give details at the end as well, guys. Add me on Facebook, Katie's Insight, like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. Go in there, ask all the questions you want about stimulus, and we will all happily help you as much as we can. It's an awesome group, and we're all trying to support each other and help each other find answers. Okay, so where are we at? Let's just give a brief overview. So as you guys know, we've had not one, but two. We've had deuces timelines this week that were set that we have to get a deal by. And apparently Friday was our D day for getting a stimulus deal before the election is over, and it has not come to pass. In fact, we kept hearing back and forth movement on Wednesday. Things are going well. We've made a lot of improvement, and now it's just everything is shut down and it's a mess. I have other videos I will go into with that, so make sure and check those out because I want to go into the details and minutia of what is going on. And some of you might be thinking, well, we still have like 10-ish, 9-ish days to the election. They can pass something before then. So the problem, guys, is that they don't want to do a piecemeal deal. Remember, we've talked about this so for Nancy Pelosi's, I railed at her because I don't want to do a piecemeal Nancy Pelosi, but then she does it for the stopgap in the government to protect her, making sure she gets money and the people around her. And she also did it for the post office, but she won't do it for anything else because she refuses, but only the things that are going to benefit her and possibly turn the election in her favor in the way that she wants. Just, again, absurd. The whole thing is just ridiculous and absurd. But that is where we are at when it comes to stimulus. And right now, everything is on hold. So why can't we get stimulus passed? Because if we're not going to do separate legislation for the things that need help, which the Republicans are more in favor of, I say that though, because the Republicans, they cannot get on board with anything. They can't get their SHIT together to get anything passed. It's been really embarrassing to watch the Republicans. They keep introducing these bills and they all keep shooting them down. And it's hard because in the beginning, this last March, when the virus just hit, I think because it was such a shock and we didn't know what was going on, everybody was kind of on board with just throwing some money at it. But as time has gone on, we kind of understand this a bit better. I say that, but then like the CDC, the WHO, changes their opinions every couple weeks about what you should do. Sometimes like day to day, back to back, they'll change whether or not the virus is this or it's that. So it's hard to know exactly what is really going on. And we live, as I've said so many times, we live in a society where unfortunately, at this point in time, it's almost impossible to even know what information is real. And I don't care what side of the spectrum you're on. We're bombarded with so much information on social media. How do you ever really know what's real? How do you ever know which sources are credible, what information to trust? It's really hard. it's really hard right now because we are at this weird precipice in our society where we cannot come together as a people and establish what truth is. And that is, in my opinion, intellectually and within our societies, a very dangerous place to be in, because then we can become easily manipulated. And like we have right now, we have two sides of extremism that have taken over both the left and the right. And it looks like there's a civil war that's right around the corner when it comes to the elections. I am hoping that assessment is wrong. I don't want to be right on that. I'm just seeing the writing on the wall, and I think a lot of other people are as well. And the truth is, I'm concerned. So it's not that I don't, well, you guys know I like to be really positive. I like to be really upbeat, but I'm also going to be real with you. As I've said, I'm an optimistic, idealistic realist. I show you the reality of what is and the positive paths that we can take forward and where we might be able to head. And I will always do that, but I am going to be real with you. So why can't we get stimulus passed? The reason, and this is so frustrating that this is a thing. By the way, sorry guys, I'm super itchy all of a sudden, so I keep itching my back in places. So just a heads up, I might actually start using my snout rag. Forgive me, I will try to do that off camera, try to, my body leaking because of allergies and histamine and whatnot. But the thing is that if we're not going to pass small pieces of legislation, the problem is these are like $2,000. What am I tired? It's late. I'm tired. Excuse me. These are 2,000-page documents. Documents is the word, not dollars. Hey, we'll all take $2,000 from the government. Not that they're going to give it to us right now, but these are 2,000-page documents, and they take time to write. Now, Pelosi has said they're in the process of writing it, and Pelosi said we're right there when it comes to stimulus, but then Mnuchin and company all shut it down. So it's like, what the WTF is actually happening? And unfortunately, we don't know. Nobody really knows what's going on. It's just a constant ping pong back and forth. And basically they're playing ping pong with our lives and our heads. Just tiny little American heads going back and forth across a net while they just scream and rant at each other. And it's like they're not even good ping pong players. Remember Forrest Gump when he was like against all the top people? It's not even like that. I mean, I think if where our little heads are ping pong balls, we feel the impact. We're just walking around with a bunch of ping pong ball head concussions from these people. This is a really weird metaphor, I'm realizing, so I'm gonna move on from that. But this is it's a really weird time in our society. Like, I don't even know, I don't think I can sugarcoat that. And so my goal at this point is, to be as honest and upfront as possible. I mean, that's always my goal. It's not like that's changed, but you might see a bit of a tone shift, unfortunately, because I am more and more concerned about what's happening with this election. And I'm concerned on both sides. We have two candidates who said they're not going to concede, and two sides who are more and more angry and riled up. And one of those sides, the left, has even gotten, increasingly, it's gotten increasingly dangerous. A lot of their protests turns into rioting, turns into, setting things on fire. Like it's getting really scary. And then that makes the right react. And of course we have some extremists on the right who do awful stuff too. Like it's getting very, very concerning. I don't think in my lifetime I ever thought that it would get to this place, but I blame social media, not people. I blame the way that social media was created for how we take in information to make everybody react so extremely. On top of that, over the last 10 years, we've had a shift in our universities when it comes to teaching our students, and they've been, in my opinion, more and more radicalized in really different areas. And some areas, I think they learn decent information and stuff that maybe we haven't been taught, but then I feel like that information is taken and weaponized to try to destroy people and destroy the country. And I'm not about that. I'm all about uplifting, which is, I'm sure, what you guys are about, which is why you're here. So I want to let you guys know that I'm going to more and more be trying to find tips and tricks to help you get money and make money, because I am less and less optimistic that we're going to get any help anytime soon. And I'll break this down and I'll tell you the reason why. Because I'm afraid things are going to get so chaotic with the election, with two people not wanting to concede. And by the way, I'm not saying who's going to win. If you ask me, I think this is going to probably favor more Trump, but I also think there's going to be corruption, and there can be corruption on both sides. I would say I think the country will lean more Trump because of how crazy the left is coming across. I'm not saying that's because I want it to happen. I don't have a dog in this race. I guess I hope this doesn't sound arrogant, and maybe a lot of you feel this way. I almost feel like I'm half an alien, watching all this going, what are these humans doing? By the way, I'm not saying that's the case, obviously. I don't think I'm half an alien. Or do I? Now, I have said before that 2020 isn't over until the ETs land, because I think at this point we would be so desensitized to how crazy things are. I think most people wouldn't be too concerned or even cautious. They'd be like, oh yeah, it's 2020. Of course aliens just landed in our backyards. And it's become widestream public news. Funny enough, do you guys know there are actual stories and reports of ETs landing places and having mass sightings? I forget, but there was I think a school in Russia or something, or was a park where there was a few hundred people who just saw ETs land, come out of a ship, hang out for a second and go back up. There's all this weird documentation about ETs. I'm firmly convinced they exist. And I need to meet a nice one. So all of you ETs, or if you were an ET hybrid, hey ETs and ET hybrids, hey, come hang out. I have these beautiful candles to snip. I will spray you with this. Most likely it's probably got a ton of chemicals, and if you're an ET, you will get very, very sick. So we will make sure and not do that. Look at this. Comment. Okay, now I want a bunch of comments on conspiracy theories about, am I part ET and am I part of the government? No, but seriously, guys, I get so fed up with people and the way things are, I just turn on Ancient Aliens all the time. This is my MO. So it's like I said, 2020 isn't over until the ETs land. In my opinion, it's fact. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get in this article, and I also want to tell you guys about people who are now going to be up for stimulus. So it's something you can think about for yourself or for other people if this applies to you. All right, got my notes and I got my article. So this is from CNET. This is what this says. It says stimulus checks and child support. Why both parents may be eligible for an extra $500 per child. So if you had children, listen up. And remember, life is all about finding the positive loopholes and exploiting them in a way that is not detrimental for you or other people. That's always what I have to say. I feel like people who follow the rules, and by the way, following the rules is not a bad thing, but I mean to try to get ahead, because things are put in place so we can't succeed unless you have you have a lot of money or you've been born into it. It's very difficult. So you find the positive loopholes and you exploit them. So says me. Oh, and also meet the aliens. Aliens, come hang out on board, but make sure you're nice. I don't want you around if you're not nice. So it says, depending on your situation, the IRS might not send you a full dependent payment, or it might issue you 2 payments for the same child. Here's what you need to know. So let's dive in. The clock is still ticking as Congress tries to approve a second stimulus check before the election. But many people are still trying to figure out the details of the first payment, up from $1,200 per person and $500 more per child or dependent. The eligibility rules around dependents are confusing enough. And for parents who are in situations with child care involved, they can get even more overwhelming. But learning the details could possibly get you extra money for your dependents. Even if you qualify for a stimulus payment, either the first or a second if a new bill is approved, there are specific rules that apply to child support. Those rules involve parents who owe support payments and those who receive such payments. For example, some parents who owed a debt for unpaid child support ended up not having their own stimulus checks garnished. But some or all of their current spouse's $1,200 taken as well. On the other end of the spectrum, some parents who are separated or divorced but maintained joint custody have actually gotten 2 $500 checks per child, one for each parent. Then there's the issue of figuring out if the wrong parent got the dependent check. We'll tell you what you need to know about how the first round of stimulus checks for child dependents was processed and what that might mean for future stimulus checks whenever that payment could arrive. Parentheses, it says, here's who didn't count as a dependent for the first check and how stimulus totals are calculated. So, and if I go into that, let me go into that very quickly. This is the definition. It says here the IRS's definition if you're considered an adult. Millions of young Americans have missed out on the first round of stimulus checks, but if lawmakers eventually approve a second relief bill, the rules could change. And it says when you turn 18, you're old enough to vote, get a driver's license, enlist in the military, attend college, and get married. However, when the first round of stimulus payments went out in March, most young American adults weren't eligible to receive a check of their own or any money at all. An estimated 13 million young people aged 17 to 24 who were claimed as dependents were excluded from qualifying for stimulus payment. The latest stimulus proposal from the White House includes a second round of stimulus payments up to $1,200 for eligible adults and $1,000 for qualifying child dependents. The House of Representatives passed a proposal, which some call the HEROES Act 2.0, that included $500 in stimulus money for any person claimed as a dependent, regardless of age. But that doesn't mean that every young adult is qualified to receive an individual check. So here we go. Let's get into this. Are you considered a dependent or an adult? Here are the IRS's eligibility terms. The first stimulus payment sent out under the March CARES Act allocated up to $1,200 for qualifying American adults and $500 for dependents, listed on their 2019 tax returns, so long as they were age 16 or younger. To qualify for your own stimulus check, you need to have filed your 2019 taxes independently, which means no one else claimed you on your taxes claimed you on their taxes as a dependent. You also had to have an adjusted gross income of under $75,000 to receive the full amount of $1,200. The sum decreases as your AGI goes up. And if you made over $99,000, you weren't eligible for a check. There are two different sets of rules for who counts as an adult or dependent under current law, according to Janet Holblatz, a senior fellow at the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center. One is the support test. If you are unmarried, you don't claim children as your own dependents. Your parents provide you with financial support equal to or greater than half of your annual income, and you made less than $4,200 in 2019. Then your parents can still claim you as a dependent. Another is the residency test. If you're a full-time student under the age of 24 who resides with an adult taxpayer more than half of the year, unless you're living on a college campus, you can be claimed as a dependent no matter how much money you make. And then it says, so let's go on from there. I just want to give you that information very quickly, just so you guys have access to it. So, stimulus checks can be garnished for child support. Although the government prevents debts like overdue student loans and back taxes from being taken from the first round of stimulus checks, one type of debt not covered by those protections was overdue child support, also known as arrears, or arrearage. I can't say this. It's guys, okay, so it's ARREARS, and I don't have children, so I've never had to go through this. Forgive me. Arias or Ariage? Ariarage. That's a weird one. If you owe more than 150 in arias, your state may reserve the right to garnish some or all of your first check based on how much you owe. And if you owed child support, you may receive money garnished from your child's other parent. Although how long it takes to get you depends on a lot of other factors. The money has to be processed through the state, which will then issue it to you. The next round of stimulus checks may or may not be garnished for child support, depending on which language is incorporated into the next bill. If one is passed at all, past due child support may or may not have been garnished again. The HEROES Act, a proposal that was passed in the House of Representatives but is not law, specifically prohibited reducing or offsetting the amount of stimulus checks to pay a child support debt. The Senate's HEALS Act, which is also not law, allowed it. And guys, none of these acts have gone through, and it doesn't even look like they're going to go through. Just going to give you a heads up. It's unclear where the current stimulus bill is under negotiations in Washington because they're still in negotiations, so we don't know where they stand. Now, check this out. How to recoup money taken from your spouse's check. Although states had the right to garnish CARES Act stimulus checks, money from parents who owed back child support, the IRS, which issued the checks, says it didn't mean to allow states to also deduct from a current non-parent spouse's stimulus check as well. If you are now married to someone who was not the child's parent and past due child support was deducted from funds intended for your current spouse, the IRS directed taxpayers in August to fill out a Form 8379, again, Form 8379 for this, in order to receive a replacement check. However, since then, the agency says it's sifting through to find such errors and will be issuing replacement checks, although it did not provide a timeline for doing so. It appears the IRS is ironing out this particular wrinkle, so hopefully it won't be a problem next time. What if the $500 payment went to the parents who is owed child support? Most of the time, but not always. The non-custodial parent pays child support to the custodial parent, who likely claims the child on their taxes. Sometimes, however, child support is owed even when parents share custody, when one parent earns significantly more than the other, for example. In many of those cases, but again, not all, parents alternate claiming the child on their taxes, one in odd years, the other in even years, for example. In situations like these, it's possible that the $500 stimulus payments for dependents could be sent to the parents who's owed back child support, while the one who owes receives nothing. If that happens, the parents who did not receive the money can claim it on their 2020 tax return and receive it along with any refund due in 2021, according to Janet Holtzblatt, a senior fellow at the Urban Brookings Tax Policy Center. Double dipping in this instance isn't a glitch. Both parents technically qualify for the $500 payment for a total of $1,000 per child. Where to go if you need help figuring this out? So check this out, because I just want to make sure that you guys have this info. So make sure and listen up. Like anything having to do with taxes, this stuff can get confusing pretty quickly. If you need help and don't have an accountant or retainer to assist you, you can try looking for more information on the IRS website or giving the IRS a call. At the bottom of the IRS's letter accompanying paper checks is a number you can call for more information. And guys, they have a direct line. They didn't have a direct line for a long time when it came to stimulus, but this is something they started in May. So this is a direct line for stimulus checks. 1-800-919-9835. And the IRS help number, the general help number, is 1-800-829-1040. So that's where you can go, guys. And then also make sure to go to irs.gov if you need additional help when it comes to stimulus checks. The next thing I want you guys to know, and this is really important again, about if you can get stimulus or you know somebody that can get stimulus, this has to do with some people that were excluded, specifically inmates. Now, I'll be honest, when I heard inmates were not going to be eligible, it kind of made me sick to my stomach, because as we all know, inmates get almost nothing for money, and they have to have money where they're at to survive. Why should they not be allowed to have stimulus checks, especially when, from my perspective, a lot of inmates are there simply because it is a way to get cheap or almost free labor. It's what I call modern day slavery. That's why the system doesn't really rehabilitate people. Why would they want them rehabilitated? Because then they can't profit off of their energy and their work. So this is something that's been really close to my heart and really, really bothered me. But we have some movement in this area. And if you're an inmate, you may be eligible to get a stimulus check. I'm gonna have a more detailed video on this coming up. But the first thing is, we have recently had 2 federal judges rule that prisoners should get their $1,200 stimulus checks. I'm looking here because here are my notes. So I'll look at this. So it looks like a federal judge has ordered the U.S. Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service to make stimulus payments previously denied to people in prison and jail. Affected individuals must apply no later than October 30th, 2020 for non-tax filers. Keep that in mind and look up what's going on within your state and your prison systems to see if this is something that you can benefit from or somebody you know. I don't know if a lot of inmates would be watching me. Do they have access to internet and phones? And I'm not saying that to be like me. I don't know. I'm saying it because I don't know. So if you are, hey, inmates, hey, I'm going to try to help you get some money. It says the September 24th, 2020 order by Phyllis J. Hamilton, United States District Judge for the Ninth Circuit, certified a nationwide class action of incarcerated individuals denied federal stimulus checks and issued a preliminary injunction requiring the IRS and Treasury to stop blocking such payments and expedite previously denied payments. Although many federal and state statutes block current prisoners from enjoying certain government benefits, the language of the CARES Act, passed by Congress after the virus pandemic erupted, does not. Now, this is, one day I'm gonna go through all of this and really, really fill you in, but then there was something else that happened, and this one was recent because I've kind of been talking a little bit about this. So this says, California judge rules inmates owed $1,200 stimulus payments. The CARES Act did not specifically prohibit payments from being sent to these individuals. So this is saying basically that California is trying to make sure that their residents, that everybody is going to be able to receive a $1,200 payment, even if those people are incarcerated. So here's what happened. We had a federal judge from the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of California rule on the side of lawyers who brought a class action suit against U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig, argued that denying these people relief checks based on their incarcerated status is unlawful. That's what I've been thinking the whole time. I'm like, how do you discriminate against that? Like, what are the rules for that? The agency has until later this month to decide on whether it will follow through on these payments. So just to kind of let you guys know, but the government is appealing this ruling. So it says the IRS updated stimulus check guidance following a preliminary injunction issued to California to clarify that incarcerated individuals cannot currently be denied a $1,200 check. A spokesperson for the IRS did not return Fox Business's request for comment. So I want you guys to be aware of this. And like I said, I want to have a more in-depth video where I can really dive into this. I'll probably have this week because I know I can already hear people saying, well, why should we care about these people? I've, followed the laws and the rules and I'm not incarcerated. Remember, there are still people that are in prison because they had marijuana on them. There are a lot of people who are just sitting in prison for a lot of BS reasons, and there are some people who should be there, right? Anybody who's trying to hurt other people, especially women and children, not going to be for that, obviously. So I'm not saying that I think people shouldn't have to, pay consequences. I'm saying I think we should work towards rehabilitating people. That's what I think we should do. Otherwise, what's the point? It's just torture for torture's sake or, profiting and exploiting off of people's labor. That's how it looks to me. This is what I want to kind of go over with this. If you are incarcerated, again, I don't know. Sound off in the comments. Can people incarcerated watch me? I don't know. And I'm not saying that to be like mean or snarky. I just don't know. I don't know how it works. But remember as well, there are family members of people that are incarcerated that have to send their, the people who are incarcerated money to kind of help keep them afloat. This can help them as well. So I would check with, I would check your states. I would check your regions, I would check your districts and see what the rules are, because it looks like from what I saw, there is an October 30th deadline from this one federal judge. But the one I'm talking about right now, the two, one is a federal judge across the country, but then there's another one as well that's specifically for Northern California, but the state of California. So make sure and check and see what that is, because in this loophole where, at the moment, this is what the judge ruled, they're going to try to appeal it. But if this is what's upholding at the moment, it may be something you can get in on. And something else I kind of want to go over, guys. It looks like our government, unfortunately, and I say this with a lot of sadness, is failing us more and more and more in their duty to actually step up and be part of what the people need and help the people. So I would tell you guys, if you are really struggling or needing help with stimulus, a couple things. Most people already know this trick. I talked about this a lot over the last few months. Any place you owe bills to, call them and see if you can work something out. The problem is a lot of places now won't do much because this has gone on for months and they still have to make money. But some places will still have ways to possibly be able to help you with your bills. So just make a list of your bills, call all your providers and let them know the situation and see if they can help you. In the beginning, the first couple months, the first 2, 3, 4 months, they were really good at it. And I've started to see a shift in that, unfortunately, but that's still something you can do. Another thing is, because we can't really rely on the federal government right now, I would look for state, city, local, regional, county help. That's what I would do. So you can do a lot of searches for local stimulus checks, local stimulus help, stimulus by your city, stimulus help by your state. Look up all those different types of things because there could be programs and money that are available to you. There have been things come up, but just be aware, a lot of those things that come up, that money runs out really quick. So I would be doing Google alerts, like putting some Google alerts on this sort of thing. So if news comes up in your area, But again, you want to look in several different areas. Look by your state, look by your county, look by your city, look by your region of your state. There are all different types of ways you can look up things, especially if you are a business owner. Grants.gov, there are tons of different places who have different grants to help business owners. You would be amazed. Federally, state-wise, locally, citywide. So do a lot of searches for that. And I'm really sad that it's gotten to the point that this is where I'm directing you guys to get help. But the reality is we have this election coming up and we have two sides that don't want to get along and don't want to help us. The Republicans blatantly don't want to help us and the Democrats act like they're our champions and then just continue to do things to screw us. At least that's how it looks to me. So you're going to really need to get creative and really need to go outside of getting any help from the government and seeing what is also in your areas. I will continue to update you guys on this type of information because I want you to be aware of where there are loopholes that you can possibly get more money, or if you get screwed, what you can do about it coming up. So I also have, apparently they are passing, there are certain forms of the PPP loans that are passing. They are doing some PPP stimulus in different areas, and I will probably release that tomorrow because I want to dive more into that as well before I release a full video on that, so we can help you guys get some more money, hopefully for your businesses. Sorry, I had like, do you guys ever do this? Do you guys ever have like a half hiccup, half burp come up? That's why I saw it like this, because that's what was happening. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to downplay the seriousness of this. This is horrible. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best way to try to get people information as quickly as possible. What's hard and what I keep getting so upset and kind of railing on at this point when it comes to all of this is that so many, from my perspective, so many people right now in these situations, especially businesses, their businesses are done. They needed a second PPP loan. The first PPP, it was only for 8 weeks. I think they extended it to like 32 weeks, but it was 8 weeks. There were all these crazy rules that didn't make sense. You had to spend the money within a 2-month period and then it's done. And for most people, that money ran out in May or June. And now we're almost in November. I'm embarrassed. Like at this point, I would say it's beyond embarrassing what the government is doing. Because for a while I was like just going, I'm embarrassed. No, now at this point, it's just dangerous. It's just dangerous. And I'm praying that both sides of the government step up and actually help us in the right ways, in the ways that we need, in the ways that we deserve, because they are our public servants and we are Americans. And at this point, my advice is vote them all out. Get them all out, both sides. If you really think one side is more on your side or not, I feel like that's where people lose the plot. And I know the Democrats parade around like they are, but look at their actions. They aren't. Don't look at what they say. Don't look at the little dramatic things that they do where they try to act like it. Look at the actual actions. And the Republicans, they are very upfront about not caring. The sad part is, as much as the media wants to paint Donald Trump as this horrible character, and look, he's got flaws and he's done some stupid stuff. Stupid. I do not condone a lot of the things he's said and done. But we have both sides of the government that are so corrupt and that are so awful and so withholding help from us that it makes Donald Trump look good. To the middle Americans like me who are on the fence, who don't like any of these people and don't want to vote for any of them, well, let's go with this crazy A wild card, right? We know he's not perfect, but maybe he's not them. That's how we choose a president. And many of us, and this is something I find interesting, I saw this article that was about, who are these people that won't vote? Who are the people who haven't taken a side? Let's listen to what their issues are. And it was funny because they left out a portion of people. They did finally say at the end there are a portion of people that are like, everybody's so corrupt that I don't want to trust anybody. And I was happy they added that in, but there is one more group that's growing and growing. Our voices are growing louder. There's also a portion of us that say the majority of these people are either involved in, getting paid by, or have been aware and complicit of the fact that women and children are being hurt and they are being sold. Let's put it that way, because I'm trying not to upset YouTube and still stay afloat. And many of us are so disgusted. We don't want anything to do with these people and we want them all out. And when we look at both sides, we look at the ballot, it's like the two candidates and we're like, well, this is how many of us are picking our candidate. Which one is least likely to hurt women and children? And that is an insane way to have to run a country and pick people. So people like me look at it and go, I don't want any part of that. And that's another big reason that you're going to see there's a large population of people who don't vote. I'm angry because I feel like you hear it more on the Republican side, but I feel like both sides really, really lack, especially the left, about the women and children situation. Please infer what I'm saying. Things like, maybe a man named Jeff might have had a plane. Could be an island involved. Please infer, because I can't really directly talk about it. Y'all, if YouTube didn't censor us, the stuff I would be talking about when it comes to this, I'm furious. I get more and more angry at the left as I get older because they parade around like the moral authority and they want to tell us how to live. And then in the background, this is the stuff they're involved in. This is the stuff they're involved in, and everybody stays silent. Why? Why do they use every other cause to try to further what they're doing, but they stay silent about this? Something that is actual modern day slavery. And it's amazing to me. Okay, one thing and then I'm going to be done, I promise. Something that really bothers me about the players in Hollywood They like to act like they are the moral authorities, that they are superior, that we need to do as they say with their morality. They have a platform. They need to use it to teach us morality. Guys, I am somebody who grew up in entertainment. I was an entertainer. I was a singer. Like, I was down at Disney, those types of places where they pick people like Britney Spears and NSYNC, where they pick those people out. I was a part of all of that as a child and as a teenager. So I'm telling you from some amount of experience, what really, really bothers me is they just want to tell us about how we need to morally live our lives, but they're all quiet on the subject. And most of them, to get where they got, they on some level had to sell themselves. On some level. You want to tell us what the moral authority is when you had to, F your way to where you needed to be? No. And I just find it appalling. I find it appalling in the Me Too movement, which I'm happy about the Me Too movement, but I find it disgusting that for some reason, children are always left out of this. I don't want to say too much because YouTube's going to get upset, and this is for another video. A little bit of a rant here, but I think you guys probably know by now watching me, I will sprinkle in some of these things here and there because if the censorship wasn't the way that it was, I would have a lot more videos on this because this is very, very disgusting and very, very concerning. And I think we should all be concerned. But I just want you guys to know, when you're sitting at home and you can't figure out how could so many people not vote, there are people like me who see this and they're like, it goes on everywhere. It's everywhere in this situation, and I want no part of it. It's disgusting. So that is where we are at right now, and I'm gonna continue to bring you updates on where you might be able to possibly get more money or how things can go. Okay, guys, if you like this video, did you hear me? This video, please give me a big thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe if you haven't. If you have subscribed, make sure you hit that notification button so you can be notified daily what is coming on the pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Also, leave a comment, sound off. I want to hear everything y'all have to say and more. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you know that are struggling right now. People who are on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, waiting for stimulus checks, SBA loan and grant issues, and everything in between. I've got tons of tools and tons of resources to help people, and I would love to help as many people as I can during this difficult time. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, share this content, the more the channel grows. The more my channel grows, the more things I can do to give back to you guys, like our $100 gift card giveaway. Very simple to be eligible. This is all you have to do. Like our video, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom. That's it, you're eligible, that's all you have to do. The more videos you do this for, the more chances you have of winning. Make sure and do this for every video you see, as long as these videos are still eligible, and leave as many comments as you can. The more comments you leave, the better chances you have to win. So yay, good luck, and I want everybody to win, but then I would be bankrupt. So I hope this goes to the right person who needs this money. I will announce winners on Monday. As well, guys, please find me on Facebook, Katie's Insight. Like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. It will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. Facebook's making me wait, but right now it's Katie's Corner. Go in there, ask all the stimulus questions you want, and we're all trying to help each other, and we're just one big, awesome, supportive group. Can't wait to see you there. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end this video here now. This has been Katie, and thank you so much for listening to my insight on what's happening and what's going on. And until next time, I'm praying for all of us. I'm praying for all of you, and I'm so grateful for all of you. And I will work to the best of my ability to help us be able to find solutions in these situations. Lots of love. Take care. Blessings. Mwah. Bye, guys.